first, I'd like to talk about one of the figures who is very important, especially at the beginning, and that's Jacob Beckenstein.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
we shouldn't have left him out.
yeah, so why was his contention that black holes have entropy both so shocking and so integral to the development of the conflict?
Okay, so when does a system have entropy? What is entropy first? Entropy is hidden information that is really present in the system, distinctions between two systems, but sometimes that information is very difficult to perceive. Why? One reason is it might be behind some closed door somewhere where you can't see it. Okay, that's not so interesting. Another reason is because it might be contained among a set of degrees of freedom which is just so numerous and so tiny and so small that with our ordinary coarse-grained vision, with ordinary coarse-grained methods of observing the system, you can't see all this fine-grained information. For example, in a gas in a room, take this room, it's full of gas. You can't see the gas. Even if you could see one or two molecules in the gas, you couldn't possibly keep track of all of them.
Right.
But the presence of all of them and the details and everything else have a huge amount of information about what that gas is like, the details of it. So entropy is hidden information, either hidden because you just don't have access to it because it's in a locked box somewheres, or more importantly, because it's contained in so many degrees of freedom that are just so tiny and so microscopic that you can't keep track of them. That's what entropy is. Okay, so the question then is, do black holes contain information which is hidden? That's what's believed. It's believed that the horizon of the black hole, and later when the black hole evaporates, contains all the information that fell into the black hole, but it's hidden because it's so scrambled up among so many tiny degrees of freedom that we can't perceive it with ordinary methods. That's what it would mean for a black hole to have entropy. It would mean that the structure, the detail, the quantum details of the horizon can, in principle, tell you whether the black hole, whether it was Stephen's book or my book that fell into the black hole. That in principle, but it's so scrambled up and it's so in the form of tiny microscopic details on the horizon that for all practical purposes, it's inaccessible. That's what entropy is. Why did Jacob think that black holes have entropy? Well, there was a number of reasons, I think. I think he sort of intuited that information can't be lost. He intuited that, and he said, where can it be in the black hole? It must be in hidden details on the horizon. I think that's what he was thinking, that hidden details on the horizon must encode everything that fell in. And he did some calculations on that basis and found a rather consistent story about the missing information or the entropy of the black hole. For example, there was a known fact about black hole. Oh, one of the things he said, through some calculations, which you can read about in my book, incidentally, that the amount of information in a black hole is proportional to the area of the horizon. It was known from classical general relativity that the area of a horizon always increases, never decreases. Well, that's kind of interesting because the second law of thermodynamics says that entropy is always increasing, never decreases. I suspect that, I didn't know Beckenstein very well, and I never asked him about this, but I'm pretty sure he must have said to himself, this fact that entropy never decreases and the fact that horizon area never decreases must somehow be related. Somehow they must be the same fact. And so that encouraged him with the idea that black holes have entropy and the entropy is proportional to the area of the horizon. It was a brilliant guess. It was a brilliant guess. What he didn't realize, this is the so-called first law of thermodynamics. If something has entropy and it has energy, then it has temperature. That's the first law of thermodynamics. dE equals TdS. Don't worry about what that means. That's the relationship between energy, entropy, and temperature. So he didn't realize that one of the things he was saying is that black holes have temperature. Now, Hawking recognized that, and at first what he said, we know that black holes don't have temperature. That's ridiculous. Beckenstein must be wrong. But then Hawking did his own calculation, completely from a different point of view, and found, yes, the black hole has temperature. And it was consistent with what Beckenstein had said about entropy. But then Stevens realized something else. He was very brilliant. He realized if a thing has temperature, it will radiate. It will radiate photons. And when it radiates photons, it loses a bit of energy. Mass, when it loses energy, it shrinks. It's radiating away entropy, and it's shrinking, and he discovered the fact that black holes evaporate. Okay, once he knew that, and the argument was completely compelling, black holes have entropy, they have temperature, they radiate like a black body, and therefore give off energy. And if they give off energy, they evaporate and shrink. Just like a puddle of water giving off molecules shrinks and disappears in the end. Well, then he said, wait a minute, what happened to all the information which fell into the black hole? Black hole's not there anymore. But it can't get out. So information must be fundamentally lost. He didn't take seriously the possibility that the radiation itself might be carrying off that information. That is basically where we disagreed, that the radiation carrying off the energy of the black hole is also carrying off the details of its formation, and eventually he gave up and said, yeah, you guys must be right. But,